Hello everyone, welcome back. So in the previous video, we studied logarithmic amplifier and so how input signals can be compressed using a logarithmic relationship. So today we're going to study the reverse operation, that is the antilog amplifiers. So as the name suggests, the circuit produces an output that is proportional to the anti-logarithm of the input signal. So mathematically, if we see, it will be V out proportional to e to the power V in. So the logarithmic amplifier compresses the signal and antilog amplifier will expand it. Now you may wonder, if we already have amplifiers, why do we need an anti-log amplifier? So the answer lies in the special applications like anti-log computation, multiplication and division circuits, signal processing, instrumentation, communication systems. Like in many cases, mathematical operations can be performed more easily using an log and anti-log circuits. So in last class, we have used logarithmic amplifiers. So logarithmic amplifiers are also can be useful for multiplicative operations. That means when we have log of mn, we can convert it into log m plus log n. Similarly, if we have log of m by n, which will be converted into log of m minus log of n. So now the circuit structure, if we see here and observe carefully, then in logarithmic amplifier, we place the diode in the feedback path, right? And in case of the anti-log amplifier, the diode is shifted to the input path. So this small change completely changes the circuit behavior. That means just replacing the values of R and D will change the behavior of the amplifier. So now moving into the circuit and how it works. So as we already know, with respect to the virtual ground, V2 value is equals to V1 equals to 0. Since V1 is 0, V2 is also 0. And also we know the current moving to the op-amp IB is also equals to 0 as due to the presence of high input impedance. So now we have two currents left. This is the current ID and this is current IF. Let us consider this as RF because resistance is in the feedback path. Okay, so if you write down the KCL equation, it will be ID equals to I. And as we know the value of ID from diode equation, so which is to IS into e to the power Vd by eta Vt minus 1 equals to I, and we can neglect this one, so it will be e to the power Vd divided by eta Vt equals to I. So now if we see the value of I, or we are putting here as IF, so it will be IF. So the value of IF will be given by the ratio of voltage by R. So the voltage is V2 minus V out divided by the resistance RF. V2 is 0, so this will be minus of V naught by RF. And across the input, if we see the VD current is given by nothing but V in minus 0, so the value of VD is V in. So now if we simplify and write it down, the value of V naught will be equals to RF will go on the other side. So it is negative IS RF e to the power V in by eta Vt. So this gives the relation of output and input. So from here we can conclude that the output is proportional to exponential function of the input, so which represents an anti-log amplifier. So now notice something interesting here. So in a linear amplifier, doubling the input doubles the output, but in anti-log amplifier, a small increase in the input can produce a large increase in the output. This is because the relationship is exponential. So the application of this anti-log amplifier are like analog computation, multiplication circuits, division circuits, exponential signal generation, instrumentation systems, and communication electronics. In fact, many analog multipliers are built using combination of log and anti-log amplifiers. So in this video, we understood the working principle of anti-log amplifier. We saw the need of the anti-log amplifiers and how the diode is used in the input path, how the output equation is derived, and how the circuit produces an exponential response. So I hope you have understood the anti-log amplifiers and learned how you can use it. So remember why logarithmic amplifier compresses a signal and anti-log amplifier expands it. So this complementary behavior makes this circuit extremely useful in analog computation and signal processing. So hope this video is beneficial for you, and if you have any doubts, then do put it in the comments so that we can discuss it over our next videos. And also don't forget to like, subscribe and comment to our videos so that you don't miss any content. Thank you for joining and thank you for listening so far. Keep learning.